Welcome to my LGBT lesbian channel. The series Checkmate, Stripper and Dance for Me are voiced for you in full history. Thank you for your comments, reactions and subscription to my channel. Have a nice day everyone. We were very close, we sat side by side, but facing each other. We talked without breaking our eye contact. I felt mesmerized by that woman. The way she talked, smiled, everything was attractive to me. Yes, very good at it. You're fucking good at it too, Lauren. And I hate you for it. You hate me? I inched closer to her, and Camila did the same with that cynical smile. Very much. She lowered her head slightly, making me smile. I could swear that I left Camila disconcerted in certain moments. Her gaze averted mine whenever that happened, and even with the dim light of the place I could see her blushing. You adore me, Carla. Camila was now sitting sideways with her legs crossed, leaving good part of her long and tanned legs showing through the slit of her black dress. She had her head slightly arched back as she savored a sip of beer. I could see the skin of her collarbone and neck perfectly well, making me feel the huge urge to kiss her. The Latina turned to face me with an intense look. Indeed I do, very much. Her words hit me hard, making me swallow hard. My body seemed to react instantly to Camila's heavy confession, because the heat seemed to triple, forcing me to lift a little the sleeves of my blouse. I brought the beer bottle up to my lips, taking a series of sips, which made her smile sarcastically. It was clear how the alcohol was already guiding us. I felt much lighter than in the beginning of the night, and Camila was no different. Honestly, I let the words die on my lips with a smile, which caused another in her. What? The brunette's eyes stared at my mouth without even being discreet. You're no good. Never said I was, Lauren. Asterisk play song, One Dance by Drake. The Latina winked one of her eyes at me and smiled. She began to move her body discreetly to the sound of the engrossing music that was playing in the nightclub, perfectly accompanying the timing of the beats. Her eyes stared at me while her bottom lip was trapped between her white teeth. I felt my body seething with those images. The woman could engage me only with the movement of her body and her penetrating gaze. Come, let's dance. Carla. I won't take no for an answer. If you don't come with me, I'll dance with another. I frowned at her, disliking the idea of seeing the Latina with another woman. I shook my head quickly, taking the last sip of my beer before dropping it on the counter and getting off the stool. Camila kindly asked the bartender to keep our stuff, and so the young man did. I felt her hand grab mine, intertwining our fingers to pull me into the middle of the cluster of people who were dancing. We stopped almost in the middle, and Camila turned to face me and started dancing to the sound of the music. I smiled at her and followed her movements. The Latina had a huge facility to follow the rhythm that the music offered her, and I confess that I was loving that. Her facial expressions could be as sensual as the music and the movements of her body. She swayed her hips as her hands moved several times towards her hair, which flowed with lightness. She turned her back to me and I promptly inched closer, pressing her body to mine. Now Camila moved her hips from side to side, causing a strong friction between us. I closed my eyes as my hands rested on her waist, guiding her movements from one side to the other. Delicately, Carla pulled her hair to the side, leaving her neck free for me. We exchanged an intense glance without stop dancing. She seemed to have fun with the tension that surrounded us. I tilted my head slightly forward, brushing the tip of my nose on her soft skin, inhaling her delicious scent, almost intoxicating. "You're good at dancing," she murmured, arching her head slightly back, prolonging our contact. "I'm good at so many things, Carla." The brunette smiled and rolled her hips, rubbing her body on mine slowly. I didn't know how to explain it, but my body reacted to every movement that she did. I felt on fire with that situation, with our contact, with our gazes. Every existing cell in me yearned for her, as if that was necessary to keep my sanity, or literally lose it altogether. It was a mixture of desire and something else that I couldn't identify. "No, never doubted that." "Never?" I whispered in her ear, feeling the brunette's body shiver wholly. I grabbed her waist harder, and in a teasing way she rolled her hips, inciting me to grab her. Then she pulled away, turning to face me. Her arms rested around my neck, and I immediately grabbed her waist, pulling her closer. She gasped in surprise, and through her long lashes she looked at me as her lips gave me one of her best smiles. "Never." We stared at each other for a while, just standing there with our eyes fixed on each other. Her inebriated brown eyes had a different glow, intense. It was noticeable how her breathing was heavy, leaving her mouth open. With the tip of her tongue, Camila licked her bottom lip slowly, forcing my eyes to analyze every second. On instinct, I ended up doing the same, and she also watched everything. "Want to get out of here?" I whispered to her. "Yes, very badly." We picked up our things that were with the bartender and left the bustle of that place, coming into contact with the cold night and starry sky of St. Moritz. Camilla laughed for having accidentally bumped into a girl on the way out, and I just tried to take her away as quickly as possible before the woman came after us to scold us. "Is she coming after us?" she asked amid a laugh. "No, she's just looking at us. So walk faster," I said, and held the brunette's hand, hurrying her steps. Camilla was much more giggly, and that was due to the huge amount of alcohol present in her body. I held her hand and she intertwined our fingers, walking beside me. We took the longest path because the brunette insisted that she wanted to cross the small park in the town center. We talked tranquilly as we walked down the sidewalk, right next to the skating ring, where there was a relative amount of people having fun. "I want to skate," she murmured thoughtfully, stopping along the way. I stopped right away and stared at her with a frown, trying to see the jest in her expression, but only then I realized that her desire to skate was totally real. "Camilla, you're drunk," I said with a smile. "No, I'm not," she retorted quickly in pure stubbornness. "Yes, you are. Let's go, come with me." I approached her, trying to capture her hand, but she pulled away quickly, crossing her arms across her chest. "Lauren, I want to skate." "I will not skate now, I feel a little dizzy. And you are much worse than me, so come on, let's go to the hotel." I extended my hand to her. Camilla rolled her eyes impatiently, huffing in indignation. I felt like laughing at her stubbornness, but I controlled myself to not make her even more angry. I knew that that was the effect of the alcohol, and even of her strong personality. "You won't come with me?" I asked carefree. "No, I want to skate." She pointed to the ring. I nodded subtly, looking at the people who skated on the ice. "You'll stay here alone then, I'm going to the hotel." I made the most carefree expression possible, just to tease her. "You can't leave me here alone," she grumbled. "I can, you wanna bet?" She didn't answer, just nodded with a superior air, standing in the same place. I flashed a cynical smile before turning my back and walking away from the brunette. "Lauren," She shouted, "Get back here now." I felt my lips expanding into a wide smile. Camila was drunk and her stubbornness only made me want to laugh. I put my hands in the pockets of my overcoat and continued to walk slowly. "I'm going to count from 1 to 3 for you to stop," she continued to shout. "Oh no." I was stifling the laugh that insisted on making itself present. 2. I felt her closer. Perhaps Camila had taken a few steps forward towards me. "Lauren Michelle Jauregui Morgado, I'm going to say 3. You won't stop?" I continued to walk just to annoy her, but it was obvious that I wouldn't leave her alone in that place. When I took impulse and turned on my heels to face the brunette. 3. She shouted, and I felt the impact of a heavy and cold mass against my chest. I closed my eyes on instinct, and when I opened them I had the image of a Camila who was staring at me open-mouthed, to then burst into a loud laughter. The damn woman had just hit me with a snowball. "You did not do that," I said in a murderous way, seeing her stifle her laughter. "Lauren," she said slowly, as if trying to calm me down. "You'll pay for this." I bent down quickly, grabbing a bit of snow from the ground while forming a small ball in my hands. I threw the first ball, but she skillfully managed to get away. "No, please," she exclaimed amid a laugh. "Don't try to run away." I threw the next one, hitting her arm. I bent down again to pick up another snowball, and when I got up I was fully hit once again by the brunette. She approached quickly with an infectious laugh. "You're terrible at this," she said as she pulled me by the collar of my overcoat. I frowned at her, making her look at me with a broad smile. I had to agree, throwing snowballs had never been my strong since childhood. The brunette patted my hand, wiping the remnants of snow that were still there. I looked at her face, seeing a happy and relaxed smile. Her arms wrapped around my neck and on instinct I wrapped mine around her waist. "Just a little bit," I joked. "I think you're very terrible at it," she said with an amused expression. In that moment I felt incredibly light, as if for a moment the problems had evaporated, freeing my head of any perturbation or anxiety. I could only think about how good it was to be there in that place with Camila. She stared at me, penetrating her intense brown eyes on me, causing that mix of emotions that made me nervous. I held her gaze, seeing her now stare at my lips, which let out small breaths of air that were visible through the environment due to the low temperature. I brought one of my hands to her face to gently put a thin strand of her hair behind her ear. Camila closed her eyes as soon as she felt the touch of my hand on her skin, as if enjoying every second of that moment. I felt my skin prickle with desire to touch her more, to feel her more. Her so well-drawn lips called me, they yearned for mine with such a great intensity that I could feel my breathing falter. "I think I'm going to kiss you now," I whispered in a small voice. "Kiss me, please." The Latina's soft and delicate lips came into contact with mine, making me sigh appreciatively. I felt as if my whole body was reacting to that simple contact of our lips, which moved in a unique sync. Camila pressed me against her, putting all of her desire into that kiss, which seemed to be just the first of many tonight. We walked into our hotel room without breaking the contact of our bodies. I didn't want to let her go for 1 second. Camila was holding my face with her delicate hands, while her hot and soft tongue entered my mouth, sliding over mine with an incredible skill. I closed the door behind me with my foot and walked forward in clumsy steps with Camila pressed to my body. Oh, God, she murmured in a lost way when she felt my lips on the skin of her neck. Dash. I removed the overcoat from her body, letting the piece fall to the floor, and then I immediately took off mine that, just like Camila's, was lost along the way. We walked clumsily because we didn't want to interrupt the contact until reaching the couch by the fireplace that was burning in the background. I laid the brunette on the comfortable padded and rested my body on hers, having access to the skin of her neck to do as I pleased. My hand went up her thigh in a more intense caress. That made her sigh. Wait, she asked almost breathlessly. I raised my head a little to be able to look into Camila's eyes, which stared at me with an enigmatic look. If you like that I voiced the continuation of the series Stripper and want me to continue, please like and write a comment on the video. This will be an incentive to continue working on translation and dubbing.